This is the MobaPad HuBen 2. It's one of the newest controllers from MobaPad. They were gracious enough to send me not a copy, a unit to review. And I've been using it exclusively for about a month now. It's the only controller I've been using. And I wanted to review it because it is one of the best controllers I've ever used, I think. So let's get started with that. You can see the lovely case it comes with. Open it up, and there you go. You got the controller. You got a nice charging cable up here. Under the controller, you've got a USB receiver if you want to use something other than Bluetooth, and you've got the cross-shaped D-pad. But yeah, this is the controller. It's got clicky mouse buttons. You can hear that. The face buttons and the D-pad are clicky. Top buttons are a little clicky. You got your analog triggers. You got these four back buttons. These aren't like mouse buttons. These aren't clicky. These are more a little bit mushier. Not too much though. It's got three modes. You've got the wireless adapter mode. You've got Bluetooth in the middle, and you've got Nintendo Switch all the way on the right. So this controller is being billed as a PC controller that has the HD rumble that Nintendo made kind of, I don't want to say famous, but tried to standardize with the Switch controllers and the Joy-Cons in their own Pro controller. MobaPad wants to bring that HD rumble to the PC. That's the big selling point with this. And we'll get to that in a little bit here. But first, I kind of want to go over just the aesthetics of the controller. So I reviewed in text MobaPad's N1 Switch Pro controller that also had a replaceable D-pad. It came with the circle D-pad and then the cross-shaped one that you could put on there. And I actually hated the circle one on that controller. It felt like you were hitting all the directions at once. It didn't feel accurate at all. I switched to the cross-shaped D-pad and I did not go back. This is different. The circle D-pad on this one is vastly improved. You do not feel like you are accidentally hitting any directions you don't mean to. It has felt great in every genre that I've tried. I played a little bit of Marvel vs. Capcom with it, played a little bit of Mega Man X4 with it, played shooters where all you use the D-pad for is to change weapons, and it feels great. And in fact, since it's raised up a little bit the way it is like that, I actually prefer this over the cross-shaped D-pad, and that's a first. I usually do not like the circle-shaped D-pads. So good on MobaPad for making that big improvement on the circle-shaped attachment for this one. I think it really paid off, whatever they decided to do. I guess they took feedback from people reviewing the N1 controller because I think the dislike of the circle pad was kind of a universal thing with that one. So they did a great job improving it. Um, so on the back here, you've got this nice grip. It's not rubbery feeling. It does feel like plastic, which I appreciate. I actually don't like rubber grips, so I like the material that this is made of, and it really does make it feel like nothing is slipping or anything like that while you're playing. You can see there are connectors here for a docking station to charge it. That docking station is not available yet. It will be available soon. There are trigger stops up here. So this is a really popular feature with premium controllers where it turns the triggers essentially into buttons so they don't get pushed down very much before they fully trigger. Um, I've had a bit of problems with these. Apparently, the first batch of these controllers that were made had issues with the trigger stop, so they work, but you have to still press really hard to the point where it kind of feels like you're actually going to break the triggers. MobaPad said they are aware of that issue, and they're actually going to try to get me another controller with fixed hardware, so I will update this video when that gets to me. But for now, I'm just going to leave the trigger stops off. I personally never really use them very much. I know I'm in the minority with that. A lot of people really like the trigger stops. Um, you've also got this glossy finish on the front. So I don't know how well you can see it, but it's almost like the white shell is covered by like a force field, almost looking piece of plastic. I didn't think I was going to like that, but I do like it because with a lot of other controllers that I have, including first party controllers like the first party Switch 2, or I mean, excuse me, Switch Pro controller, the DualShock 4, other third party controllers like the 8-Bit Do Pro 2, which I very much love, the finish started to rub off with my skin oils the more I used it, to the point where I now wipe down those controllers with a microfiber cloth when I'm done using them to prevent them from getting more damage. That's not going to happen with this. Since it's a glossy, transparent finish, it's nothing's going to rub off. So the color is going to stay exactly the way it is. It's never going to rub off at all. The most that can happen with this is you might scratch it or ding it a little bit, and you're either going to have to take a chunk out of it to notice it or really sit down and have to look at it in the right light to see a scratch. So it was a really good move to kind of put a shielding on the front of it because it's going to hold up a lot more. It's not going to look used like other controllers do. So I very much appreciated that. The faceplate is also removable. It's magnetic. So what you do is you take that D-pad off, and then you just get your fingernails in there and pull that up, and it comes right off. Um, Now that's good for aesthetic reasons. You can get other face pads and change the color. But something I immediately noticed is this controller, because of that panel, makes it the easiest controller I've ever seen to get to the joystick caps and remove them. I buy a lot of metal joystick caps for my controllers. I just like the feeling of metal more. And all of them fit this. And I didn't have to unscrew anything, didn't have to spend a lot of time taking a lot of stuff out. I could just take that magnetic panel off, and it's easy to get to them. Now, you're probably seeing these are purple joysticks in there. That's because these are capacitive joysticks. I don't really know a lot about them. I think they're supposed to be newer than TMR. Maybe they're a type of TMR. I'm not sure. But this is supposed to be the first controller on the market that uses capacitive sticks. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to go ahead and connect this. This is connected to my computer using Bluetooth. If you update the firmware for the controller, it will be recognized as an Xbox One controller over Bluetooth. Fewer and fewer third-party controllers are doing that right now. The newer 8-bit Do controllers can only do X input over their own USB dongle, and it's nice to see that you can do X input over Bluetooth on this. But I've got it connected to my computer over Bluetooth through just the standard Bluetooth thing that's on my motherboard. It's not a separate dongle or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So let's just do a quick test of this. So I have not changed anything from stock. I have not changed any settings that you can change in stock using the app that I'll show you later. Everything works fantastically. It's super responsive. If I just let go of the sticks, they zero out without a single problem. The triggers work really well. I did add a slight outer dead zone to the triggers in the app, so they hit 100% sooner. But again, I haven't done anything to the sticks. Watch this. Let's test the circularity. I'm going to slowly rotate them. Again, this is over Bluetooth. Absolutely perfect. I have never seen a controller do this. I've never seen a controller do this before. Um, I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely perfect. If if you flick the stick around a little bit after a while, like it'll catch some kind of an error. I was able to make a catch and error before. But yeah, I mean, out of the box, just right out of the box, that's how accurate it is. It's phenomenal. Um, yeah, I it's very, very surprising to me that it zeroes out like that. So let's go back to the camera. So let's talk a little bit about the controller itself again. Oh, where did my, there we go. Um, so it's been very accurate in games. Every game that I've tested has been really good with it. It's got some other features like the screenshot button and things like that that come standard on third-party controllers. Screenshot button maps to the screenshot button on the Switch. I do think it was a little weird that they chose this icon for screenshot and then this icon for this top left one when on the Xbox controller, this icon right here is up here. So I don't know why they didn't just switch those. It's kind of weird. I would have put this icon up there and not the way it is, but I mean, it is what it is. It's not bad. If you already know the controls, you're gonna, instinctively press the correct buttons anyway. Just kind of a weird visual thing. It's got turbo, so if you hold any of the face buttons or the trigger or shoulder buttons or whatever, and you press this button right here, it will activate turbo for any of those. You can set it for manual turbo, where you actually have to press and hold the button to make it go, or automatic turbo, where you just start turbo on a button and you don't even have to press it and it'll just keep pressing that input. So it's pretty fantastic that that's built in without needing third-party software to use it. Um, it's got macro recording, so you can record here. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. If you press and hold this button, it should change to purple. Now, if I go like ABA and press one of the back buttons, every time I press this button now, let's pull up the gamepad tester again. Every time I press the back button, it'll press ABA and I accidentally hit the trigger at the end. ABA trigger, ABA trigger with just a single press of the back button. So it's pretty fantastic. And it'll also remember like the speed at which you recorded. So let me record another one. Watch this. I'm going to go ABA YX. Okay, you ready? ABA YX with one button press. It's really fantastic. So that macro recording thing is actually quite good in games like Helldivers. Um, so you can, what is it? You can set, I'm losing what the name of it is called, where you call down the weapons and turrets and stuff like that in Helldiver. You can set your favorite one to any of the back buttons, so you can technically set up to 4 of them, and just have one button press for backup in Helldivers. It's very convenient. Stuff like that is really nice. Let me show you the app here. So I'm going to put the controller down for a minute. So here we have the MobaPad app, and this lets you customize basically everything about the controller. I'm going to hit connect. I'm going to click MobaPad ML35. That's another name for the HuBen 2. It's going to connect, and there you go. If I go to controller button test, you can tell that, everything's connected. It's recognizing everything. There are the back buttons. Everything's recognized. And the app itself lets you customize a bunch of stuff. So let's edit the current config. So this is what the joysticks look like right out of the box. I did not set the 5 dead zone in the beginning and 95 at the end. That's just how it defaults. You can mess with the dead zones. You can mess with the joystick curve. Um, this is something that I want to show you. You can enable motion in X input mode. This is cool because a lot of the time, if you want motion, you have to put the controller into switch mode. And when you do that, you lose analog triggers. This attempts to let you use motion controls with analog triggers. I am going to go ahead and set gyro controls to L2 or left trigger on here, and I want to show you what it looks like. It's not as good as actual gyro controls in like in switch mode, and I'll show you switch mode as well. You can remap your controller to absolutely anything that you want. One thing I noticed that kind of stunk is that when I set the macro, it overwrote the button that I had uh, set, which was right bumper over there, and then oh no, I hit the wrong one. I have these set as oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't even know you could do that. You can set button combinations for the back buttons in this permanently. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I set the macro and it just deleted what I had, which was kind of a pain. So you have to go in here and reset them. If you disable the macro, it doesn't put back your original thing that you had. You can mess with the triggers, change the dead zones back and front. You can change the trigger switches to, you can actually change these to be quick triggers without actually physically locking them on the back. So you can do kind of a software trigger lock where you barely touch the trigger and it just goes full. So that's kind of cool. Here are your turbo settings. You can set the speed of the turbo. You can do turbo in here instead of on the controller if you want to. You can change the vibration intensity of the left grip and the right grip. I actually kind of like medium myself, but we'll leave it on low right now. You can change the light. The MobaPad logo light up there. So if I want to make it blue, now you got this lovely blue color. So that's kind of neat, and it just does it on the fly. I don't have as many hands as I need to show you all at the same time. Oh, you know what? I could leave it down there in the corner, and yeah, see that? Just does it on the fly. There you go. So that's a nice feature. You can tell it to shut down after a certain amount of time. You can change the wireless polling rate. It's it's a very robust it's a very robust app and list of customizations. So, and then you can save your customizations. Like I have this custom one that I just put back onto my controller, and you can actually share it by doing this. You can share, let's see, where's that one? I think I had the wrong button. There we go, export, that's what I meant. So you can export your configuration via QR code and then just have your friend or whoever scan it to their own controller. It's really cool that you can do that. As you saw when I accidentally hit share, you do not actually need an account for any of this, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of not requiring a data connection or an internet connection for anything, so that's nice. Um, but yeah, it's really nice. It's really robust app. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into a game, and I want to show you what this controller can do in a game. So let me start that. Okay, so here we have Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It was a first-person shooter I had installed. The back buttons feel great. I've got one set to L3, one set to L1, one set to R1, one set to R3. I love not having to click the joysticks in. I hate that feeling. I think having back buttons is so much better. It should just be standard in everything now. Um, One thing I will say, just playing around with this, the rumble does feel much better than standard rumble. The HD rumble in this feels really good. I think it's pretty comparable to the Switch. So I think MobaPad did a good job bringing it to the PC. I think they succeeded there. I will say that it isn't a replacement for something like haptic feedback on the DualSense. You're not going to or excuse me, you're not going to feel every single like raindrop that comes down with this or anything, but the type of rumble that it is does feel much better in on this controller than it does in something like the 8-bit Do Pro 2, which I also use regularly. Um, I switched back to the Pro 2 after using this one for a while, just to compare, and I was like, oh man, the Rumble is immediately not as good. So the Rumble does feel much better. I also tried Forza Horizon 5, which felt great. The Rumble felt different depending on what I was doing. Expedition 33, I think they went overboard with the Rumble in that game. Everything makes your controller rumble, but there were some things that rumbled that I didn't even really notice with a regular controller. So the HD rumble does feel great. I wish I could show that to you in a video, but it's kind of hard to do that. Anyway, so you saw me enable gyroscope controls, motion controls in the app. So this is still in Xbox mode. It's in X input mode. And I set it to activate motion controls when I hold the L trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And as you can see, it works. I am moving the controller around right now, but it's not super accurate. And if I slow down, like I'm actually moving the controller right now, and it is obviously not moving on the screen unless I speed up. When I start to speed up, now it does it. It's not perfect. It's really just trying to make motion emulate or simulate the right stick. I've tried messing with the settings in the app to see how well it works, how well I could make it work, and it's not super great. Like I appreciate what they're trying to do here, but it's not it doesn't feel as good as actual gyroscope controls. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off motion controls in the app on this and save it to the controller. And now what I'm going to do, just to give you a comparison, is I am going to turn this controller off and put it in switch mode and turn it back on. Yes, you can pair this controller in switch mode to your PC and it will be recognized on the PC as a switch controller. You then get all the benefits of Steam input when it's connected as a switch controller. So it is connected to the PC as a switch controller now. You can tell if I bring up the Steam overlay and go into controller settings, view layout, Nintendo Switch. Now check this out. Let's go ahead and enable gyro controls in this. What was the good one? Um, I think it was gyro to mouse beta is what I've had the best gyro outcome with. So let's go ahead and we'll make that ZL. So basically the Switch is left trigger. And now I am getting, you can see how much more sensitive it is. I am getting actual gyroscope controls here. This feels wonderful. As a matter of fact, it feels a little too sensitive. Not the web browser. Um, I'm going to go in and I am going to turn down the sensitivity by quite a bit, actually. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, there we go. This is actual gyroscope controls. It is doing exactly what I want it to do. If I barely move, it barely moves. This is perfect. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. And thanks to notice that I had two options here for gyro controls. I had gyro to mouse beta or as mouse. If I did as mouse, the game would think I was using a mouse whenever I activated the gyroscope. But thanks to Steam input, notice up there where it says diplomatic relations, even if I've got the gyro active, it is not trying to change my input to mouse like it would if I touch the mouse. See how it changed it to keyboard keys up there? It's not doing that with gyro, and that's thanks to Steam. Steam, side shout out here to Valve and Steam input. It is one of the most useful tools I have ever used on a PC or on any other platform. But yeah, so the analog triggers. They're just digital buttons now because that's how the Switch Pro controller works. But the gyro is phenomenal in this controller. Like this, MobaPad did a good job with this. This rivals an actual Switch Pro controller or the DualSense Edge when I use gyro on the DualSense Edge. Like it's perfect. It feels great on here. So if you're going to use gyro, or if you want motion controls, I appreciate that they tried to make it available in X input mode. It's just nowhere even remotely as accurate as switch mode and actual gyro controls. I suggest you just use that. Um, but yeah, the just touching on other parts of the controller, um, the clicky face buttons feel great. I mentioned Expedition 33 before. For anyone who's played that, you know that combat is basically really well-timed QTEs, quick time events, to dodge or to block or to get more damage. I found playing that game with this controller actually made me better at combat because there's almost no travel time with the buttons because it's basically a mouse click. I prefer that in like 99%. Ooh, okay. The rumble felt really good right there when I did the sliding. There were like 5 different levels of rumble as I did that. That was really cool. Anyway, yeah, I prefer the short travel time on mouse click buttons as compared to um, what's the name for regular buttons? I can't remember. The mushier buttons that all third party or first party controllers still are. I like the clicky mouse buttons better. I just think it's a better experience. Um, and yeah, in Expedition 33 it felt great. In this one it feels great. I feel like I feel like there's less effort to press a button, which sounds really sad because it's like who needs to put effort into pressing a button? But some buttons are tougher to press than others, and I think this controller is one of the nicest feeling. It's got some of the nicest feeling face buttons that I've ever used. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, it plays great in the game. Gyro is great. I have no complaints. I mean, it feels fantastic. It actually feels more comfortable than a first-party Xbox Series controller, which is kind of silly because they look almost exactly the same, but there's something about the shape of this one. So yeah, I mean, that is the MobaPad HuBen 2. It is one of the best third party controllers I've ever used. It looks great, it feels great. It's clearly easy to get in there and clean it out or customize some of the parts of the controller. It has so much connectivity. Like it's got, I know I didn't show the USB dongle tech connectivity, but really it's the same as connecting as an X input device over Bluetooth. Like the only difference I noticed was that it gets recognized on your computer as an Xbox 360 controller, whereas over Bluetooth it gets recognized as an Xbox One controller. So almost no difference at all. Tons of different connectivity options. The app is one of the best customization apps I've used for a controller like this. I think it blows the 8-Bit Do app out of the water. And again, this is from a really big fan of 8-Bit Do. I'll talk about how much I love them all day, but I mean, MobaPad really knocked it out of the park with this. Some things that I wish were a little bit better. I wish these back buttons were top and bottom instead of across the back like that. And I know that's going to be 100% personal preference. I just think it would have been easier to, do the back buttons like that instead. But I mean, I've gotten used to the middle buttons, just pressing them like that or going back like that. I got used to them really quickly, so it's not like it's a bad system. I just wish it was a little more ergonomic on the back. Um, oh, I forgot to mention, and I mean, I don't think it really needs to be mentioned, but just in case, yes, you can use it wired using a standard USB-C cable, and it'll be recognized as an Xbox controller when you plug it in Xbox mode or Switch controller when you plug it in Switch mode. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's my daily driver right now. It's replaced everything else that I've had. The only exception is maybe the DualSense Edge when I'm playing a Sony game like God of War or something like that, just because those games are going to be built for the DualSense haptic feedback. But I mean, in every other regard, they knocked it out of the park with this. This is an absolutely fantastic premium controller. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I think anybody would love the experience that they have with this. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed or if there's anything else that you want to know. And I look forward to talking to everybody again soon. Happy gaming.